All right, so I was just reviewing the video I did. Anyways, we're back inside the airplane now. Now we just completed the pre-flight inspection. Now we're gonna get ready and basically start the engine here. So there's a checklist that we have to go through. I don't know if it can be visible here. I don't think so. So I'm just gonna I say it out loud, and we'll do I'll do the procedure here. All right. So we've done the pre-flight inspection. Now we're gonna do the before starting engine checklist. Okay. So we have to make sure that all locks is removed. There's actually a lock here that you have to remove. I just remove that so you can see what's going on here. So that make sure that all the chocks and locks are removed. Moving on to the checklist, pre-flight inspection. We just completed our pre-flight inspection. That's checked. Passenger briefing. So I think I just earlier I said what we're going to do is we're just going to take off from Boundary Bay and see if we can actually fly and see something here, because the visibility seems to be very low. We'll see if it's I mean, as a VFR pilot you cannot really fly in this condition, but we'll see how it goes. Maybe we can just fly you know below the minimums here, below the ceiling. All right, so we have Vancouver. That's what we're gonna fly over, and then come back and land back at the Boundary Bay Airport. Next up is we want to check the brakes. Now it's currently engaged, so we want to make sure that we actually check. Now it's not simulating here, but pressing the brake there, make sure it's actually working. So we'll put the brake on again. And next up is we need to make sure that all these these are all circuit breakers, making sure that they're all in. And we cannot simulate in this, but in real life you want to make sure that these numbers here, these are the circuit breakers, they're all in. Fuel selector, make sure it's set to both. So right now it's set to both. You can actually set it to the left side. Oops, that's the right side, both, and left side. So we're gonna leave it to both. So field selector set to both, and that's it. So before starting engine checklist is complete, and now we are ready to start our engine. Okay, so we've done before starting engine, and there's also a checklist for the starting engine, and we're going to start now. Starting engine checklist. So mixture. This is the mixture. This is basically for the amount of fuel that goes into the mixture. Basically the amount of fuel that mixes into the air, and make sure that's rich. So rich is fully in. Mixture is rich. Turning on the master switch on. Now it's on. Turning on the fuel pump. Fuel pump is on. We have to set the throttle to about 1/4 inch open, so we basically push that a little bit in, so that what it does is it basically force the fuel and air mixture into the engine. All right, now we want to make sure that the beacon light is on. We know that it is on. We didn't turn it off, so it's good. Now the beacon light, if you go outside here, you can see now that the beacon light there is actually on. So that tells everybody outside that we are about to start engine. Okay, so turning on the alternator. So we know that the beacon light is on. Now we're ready to start the engine. Before we start the engine, we have to basically signal or basically shout outside, say to alert everybody that we're about to start. So what you're gonna shout outside is clear prop. So clear prop, that means okay, we're about to start the engine. And now we're gonna start the engine by switching the starter to start. Okay, so we have a good engine start. Now we got to check now all of these gauges, making sure they're all normal. So temperature is normal, oil pressure has gone up, so that's normal, that's good. We've got the alternator charging, that's good, that's the one here, amp. The vacuum is good at 4.5. The engine is running smoothly. Now you can turn on the avionics, turning it on. And retract the flaps. Okay, so flaps is retracted. All right, so we are running. Now we have to do a before taxi checklist. So before taxi, let me see. So actually we forgot to mention that after the starting engine, we had to make sure that the fuel pump is off. Now it's off, and mixture is a bit lean for taxi. So this basically saves some fuel. Let's lean a little bit more. There you go. All right, and you want to idle at about between 800 RPM to 1,200 RPM. So we're at about 900 RPM there, so we are good. Okay, so before taxi checklist. So lights. So we've got the beacon light on. We can turn on the taxi light. Radios. So we've got all set here. We're gonna do an listen to the 80s, and we'll make sure that we got all the altimeter right. Like right now it's not correct, so we also have to turn. Okay, so just moving on to the checklist. Transponder has to set to standby. There you go, transponder set to standby. Flaps is up, it's up. Seat belts, to make sure that the seat belts are all fully fastened and the door is latched and closed. We also have to again check the brake. That's checked. And now we have to basically set up our radios. So the other thing that you also have to make note of is that Hobbs, that number there says 346. You have to write that down. That's the basically like a timer for when the aircraft is actually in operation. So you gotta make that 346. All right. So now we have to listen to the 80s and listen for the current condition at the Boundary Bay Airport. So to do that, you have to switch the radio to 125.5. That's the 80s for the Boundary Bay. So we're checking this. 525. There you go. Oops. You switch that to active and listen.
Charlie Alpha Kilo, Tree Airport Information Alpha 2000 Zulu. Wind 124 at 12. Visibility greater than 20 miles. Sky condition 2,000 feet scattered, ceiling 4,900 feet overcast. Temperature 15. Dew point 10. Altimeter tree 0.18. Visual runway 7 in use. Landing and departing runway 7. VFR aircraft say direction of flight. All aircraft red back hold short instructions.
Okay.
Advise controller on initial contact you have Alpha.
Okay, you've got Alpha. So Alpha is the
Boundary Bay Airport Information Alpha 2000 Zulu.
okay,
Wind
this one more time.
124 at 13.
124,
Visibility greater than 20 miles.
20.
Sky condition 2,000 feet scattered, ceiling 4,900 feet overcast. Temperature 16. Dew point 10. Altimeter tree 0.18. Visual runway 13 in use.
13.
Landing and departing runway 13. VFR aircraft say direction of flight. All aircraft red back hold short instructions. Advise controller on initial contact you have Alpha.
Okay, so we just listened to the 80s. So a lot of important information we obtained from listening to that. The first thing first is now we know that the wind direction and the wind velocity is determined, or sorry, provided to us. So that's we have a wind of about 12 knots coming from the southeast. So it's coming from 124 degrees. True from based on true north. So 124.12. So now we know. That also tells us which runway is active. So basically, we fly, or we depart into the wind, and we have a runway that actually has a runway 13, which is basically facing towards 130 degree magnetic heading. And it's also broadcasted there that the active is runway 13. We also know the current altimeter, which is 3018. So right now, what we have to do is to make sure that the barometric pressure is set correctly to 3018. Oops, it went too far. All right, 3018. So it's actually this one you have to check. 3018 is checked and set. And we do know that there are scattered clouds at 2,000 feet. So we'll try to fly below that, so that at least we can see. Generally for VFR, you have to be 500 below the ceiling, so below the clouds. So we'll see if we can fly at 1,500 feet. That basically make us able to fly. The temperature is 16, I think, or 15. The dew point is 10, so I think we're okay. Generally, when those two numbers go closer, then precipitation or fog occurs. So okay, so right now it's reading as 14 degrees Celsius. Local time is 13:34. Okay, so we did the ATIS, and so the next step would be to call the tower and say that we're ready to deactivate. I don't think I'm gonna do that, so you basically just switch here, change the radio frequency to 124.3, like that. So switch it to active, and I don't think I'm gonna simulate it here, but basically what you're gonna say is, background Cessna Bravo Echo Lima Alpha at the apron, request to the active, 1,500 feet, and the tower will basically respond back with your call sign, and it will instruct you to where to taxi and where to depart. So right now we know that it's runway 13. So let's just assume for now that we got the clearance to taxi and hold short on runway 13. What I'm doing right now is I'm just moving the heading bug to runway 13. Like that, so we know that's 13. You have to make sure that the HSI, horizontal situation indicator, it matches the compass. Okay, so that's basically matching. Just give a break here for a sec. Hang on.